Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Diagnostik80'S Reviews with me as your host, Diagnostik80. I swear I'm changing that intro for the next one. For this particular series, I recently travelled to Bowse HQ and managed to steal production samples of their awesome Wave 5 Vitruvian HACKS figures, and have even thrown in a little bonus look at their upcoming Gladiator Deluxe Accessory Kit. Are you not entertained? So as I mentioned, I visited the new swanky Bowse HQ a little while back, and while I was there I saw the as yet unreleased Wave 5 of Vitruvian HACKS. I also sneakily filmed short reviews of each and Snowden'd my way out of the building like a boss with this secret intel in hand. Don't worry, Boss Fight will never find out as long as I remember not to post this to YouTube. I think we're all aware of Gladiators, but that isn't going to stop me, Diagnostik80, explaining it to you. Gladiator is the Latin word for swordsman from the word gladius, meaning sword. It's not fully clear as to the origins of this rather extreme entertainment, with a number of literary sources contradicting each other, but we do know it took place to entertain audiences in the Roman Republic and Roman Empire, and included some violent confrontations between gladiators, wild animals and condemned criminals. While some of the combatants were volunteers who risked their own lives for either legal or social standing, most were slaves, treated harshly, socially snubbed and segregated. It began around the 3rd century BC and lasted until the early 5th century AD, after the adoption of Christianity as state church of the Roman Empire in the year 380 AD. There's a lot of different gladiator types and it would take a long time explaining them all here, but I will look at a select few that seem to closely resemble the styles Boss Fight have gone with for their deluxe kit. Starting with the male gladiator, I'm including the Hoplomachus type in here, but only because of the similar gear he comes with. The Hoplomachus was a Greek armed fighter who rocked the same loincloth and belt, high shin and knee guards called greaves, an arm guard or manica on the sword arm, a gladius or small sword, and a small round shield or palmula. The Thracian style helmet was similar as well, but the Boss Fight version does without the plumage. They would also wear quilted leg wrappings that don't appear in the kit. Pretty close with this guy, however. The next style is Murmillo, and these guys were very similar to the Hoplomachus. The helmets were slightly different and had a stylised mormulous sea fish on the crest. The leg wrappings were not used, but they often had one or two greaves to cover the lower legs. Another major difference was the use of the huge oblong legionary shield instead of the smaller round version used by the Hoplomachus. The Samnite was also very similar to the Murmillo, so no need to go too deep here, but they were a powerful league of Italic tribes in Campania, with whom the Romans fought 3 major wars between 326 and 291 BC. Heavily armed, they were considered the lucky ones due to the large shields and good swords. The Thracians were another similar type of gladiator to these previously mentioned types. These Thracian gladiators used the brimmed helmet, but this one donned a griffin on the crest. Another cool accessory found in the set is the rather crazy metal tube with partial moon blade weapon. Based on a theory by German historian and experimental archaeologist Marcus Junkelmann, he believes the weapon was used by the scissor gladiators, despite a lot of evidence for its use with the arbalist gladiators, and the fact that a similar leather cutting tool used by cobblers is called an arbalos. The weapon is commonly referred to as a Roman scissor now in any case. We've discussed the gladius of course, but the other rather weird sword in the set is the seeker. This bad boy is so cool. Designed for reaching around shields to stab and slash at an opponent's back, this weapon allows for some really awesome display options with your gladiators. Moving on to the female side of the accessory set, we have the Gladiatrix, a name given to any female gladiator and an area we know very little about. In reality, they were considered an exotic and lavish rarity by spectators, and quite often were not slaves but free women looking for adventure. However, in 66 AD it's probably worth noting that Nero had Ethiopian women, men and children fight at Amunis to impress the king Tiridates I of Armenia. Unlike the kit the Boss Fight have created here, the gladiatrices would not wear helmets and they would be topless. This was mainly to highlight the fact they were women. To increase the shock value of the event, gladiatrices were also pitted against dwarves from time to time. The female events were very popular, but it was considered a disgrace for a senator to watch the gladiatrices in the amphitheatre. One of the coolest accessories in the kit is the net. This was used by a retiarius or net fighter, as well as a trident, which is also included in the set. They would often be placed on a bridge or raised platform with stairs and had a pile of fist-sized stones to throw at their adversaries, while the secateurs would attempt to scale the structure to attack them. The secateur style helmet is also included in the set for use with the Gladiatrix, even though, as I've already stated, they wouldn't actually use one. The set will contain all of the accessories but will not include the blank figures. Those you'll have to purchase separately. The idea is pretty cool though. Having accumulated a large amount of blanks over the years already will mean I can just throw these pieces on whatever I have at hand, and that is very cool. The level of detail is as you would expect from a boss fight product, loads of gorgeous small detailing and some really beautiful touches. The Thracian style helmet is spectacular. It even has silver deco on the front of the helmet, around the eye slots, on the bar down the middle and on the forehead crest. The helmet is one piece and therefore acts as a head sculpt rather than a helmet to be removed, and so on. The loincloth and belt waist piece is another cool touch and adds a splash of red colour to the majoritively gold and silver deco. The arm guard or manica is actually a full upper and lower arm piece, which is super awesome. It gives it way more heft and allows them to really go nuts on the detail all the way around the arm. It can also be separated at the elbow as you would expect. The chest strap / shoulder guard is another nice touch and also allows for the gladius to be stored in the loop on the back. I love it when those aspects are considered and then executed perfectly. The shoulder guard also has a decorative element decoed in silver, which is a theme throughout the set. The shield or palmula is fantastic, so detailed on both sides and really captures the palmularius style with the gold and silver deco. The Seeker sword is so quirky and I love it for its morbid interest, as is the Roman scissor or arbalor weapon. You will have to remove a hand to put it on first, however. The inside of the tube narrows to pinch the wrist so it will be secure on the arm. You'll be getting the greaves or knee / shin guards with this guy too, but they weren't available at the time of filming this, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Chris is not a doctor, do not take anything he says seriously and stop watching his foolish videos. The Gladiatrix kit is so cool as well, starting with the removable helmet. This thing is so weird and intimidating. The secutor style really does look strange and almost otherworldly. It is fully removable and can fit on a male or female head, so you have the ability to swap those around if needs be. Just remember, for the other helmet, the barbell that fits the head to the neck is different on the male and female boss fight figures, so you will need to keep the male barbell on the helmet and use it on the female body, or it won't fit properly. It's not rocket science, you'll work it out. Much like the male gladiator, you also get a full arm piece or manica for the left arm here, and just like the male version, this is a good weight and size and very detailed. For obvious reasons, Boss Fight have decided to cover up the female gladiatrix with an upper and separate lower scale male style covering, when in reality they would have fought bare chested and with a similar loincloth to the gents. That being said, I much prefer this design, and with the scale mail do we have a nod to the Gorgon race here. I know they aren't necessarily tied into the Vitruvian HACKS lore as such, but I'm assuming everything they make under the VHACKS banner is within the same universe. Just putting it out there, might just be a coincidence, and you've already been advised not to listen to me anyway. As well as the minimal body armour, she also gets a single greave shin guard with some really nice detailing on it in that gold and silver that works so well with these parts. To finish off the set, you get an awesome trident / spear and a really cool net. The net is actually really intricate and has a very simple but effective feature that draws the net closed when the strings are pulled. For what it is, they really put some extra effort into this piece with the additional handles as well. The trident is beautiful as well, and when spun around becomes a spear. Great design to effectively give us two weapons in one here. Awesome. One last point I would like to cover is the packaging design for the set. Even though I wasn't able to see it firsthand when I filmed the kit, Boss Fight have revealed the packaging on their social networks and informed the masses that it was designed by Brian Hickey with art from Lost and Wallace. I absolutely love the art with the gladiators having to deal with the inclusion of a lion, much like that scene in the film Home Alone. No, I'm kidding. I mean Home Alone 2. The back shows off exactly what you will get with the blank figures opaquely greyed out to avoid any confusion with the contents. I love that they included the horses on the packaging as well for the cross-sell. Can't wait for those now either. The box actually reminds me of the old Action Force and G.I. Joe sets from back in the day as well, so yet another reason to get as many of these as inhumanly possible. Overall, the Gladiator Deluxe Accessory Kit is just brilliant. I wasn't that fussed when I initially heard about the idea, but having them in hand and seeing the quality up close, I'm totally blown away. The idea is actually genius really, and the possibilities for these sets in the future also makes me drool a little, especially when I look at the amount of blanks I have who currently don't have a purpose. I will definitely be picking up a set or 12 of these when they officially get a release at some point this year, and I hope they are successful enough to keep creating more like these. I could see them working for a number of different characters not currently covered by the HACKS main line, including Egyptian gods and weird monsters, much like the mini-kits. Anyway, how did I get through this entire video without mentioning the Gladiators, UK and US versions? That's it from me for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video series. I will see you for another review in the future and maybe even another small bonus feature from Boss Fight HQ. You'll just have to stay tuned, subbed and transfixed to my channel until then. I've been Chris McLeod, and you've been wondering how this was ever allowed to happen. PS, these beauties will be available at some point in 2019, so just chill the out and be patient.